Hey there. Today we're going to talk about how your English language learning adventure has changed since you first started. Are you doing the same activities? Do you have the same routine? Have your goals changed for English? Let's talk about what is effective for right now that might be different from what you've been doing.
English Without Fear, where you can learn to speak English naturally through listening to stories.
I started Spanish 5.5 years ago, and my purpose, it's important to know your purpose, was to learn a little bit of Spanish for when I would be co-leading a group of students to Europe. My French language students were going and the Spanish teachers' students were going. We were going to spend half the time in France and half the time in Spain. I had never been to Spain. I didn't know hardly anything. So I was motivated that summer 5.5 years ago, to start learning something. How did I start? I started by watching videos, listening to podcasts, and letting it wash over. That's how I started. What about you? How did you start? And what was your purpose? Do you know? And has your purpose changed? I'm seeing among my Hispanic friends who are learning English, I'm seeing 3 different kinds of learners. What they do, what their goals are, and what is working for them. For example, there is Roberto from Argentina. He's got an interesting story. He decided quickly as a teenager that he could not learn English. He had terrible teachers who made him feel stupid. They focused on grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. He failed to pass an English course. He had to take a summer course and work with a teacher and try again. And he passed, but almost didn't. And that was it. No more English. I can't learn English. Fast forward 45 years. He's working in his shop, an office supply shop. Someone comes in and asks him to make copies of an English book. He makes the copies, and until the person comes to pick up the book, he starts flipping through the English book. And he gets curious. Maybe I could learn English. Then he finds my YouTube channel, English Without Fear, and he contacts me. Well, we have known each other now for more than 4.5 years. And wow, he speaks English the way I hope my Spanish will be one day. He is an enthusiastic, motivated learner. He listens to videos, podcasts all the time, throughout the day, and meets with me and some others once a week on Zoom for an English conversation hour. That's basically it. And he is in love with English, and he knows he is a good English language learner. So he represents somebody who's very motivated, and he found what worked for him. Then I have a friend named Tere. She lives here. She's Mexican. She works in a job with gringos, and she needs English for her job. So she pays a tutor one-on-one for an hour and a half, 3 times a week to work on her English. She's also very motivated. And this year is the first time she's done that. She's tried different things, but this is what is effective for her right now. Then there is my friend Areli, who speaks good English, and she is part of our every week conversation group, but right now she's pretty much content with her English the way it is because she's focused on another goal, becoming an American school teacher to teach little ones, first grade, second grade, 5, 6, 7 years old. But there's a fourth group of Hispanics I've noticed here in Huntsville. They just want to learn a little bit, and that's it. Or they've been here in Huntsville longer than I have, and they don't speak any English. So it really depends on the person, your motivation, and what works for you now. So why did you start English? And how did you start English? Is what you're doing now effective? Effective means, are you getting the greatest results for the amount of time or money you invest? I think what we do should change as we improve and as our goals change. Maybe your goals have changed. Maybe your motivation is different. Only you can answer that question. But it's good to try other ways of getting input, practicing English, learning. We get bored, and change is good for the brain. So don't be afraid to try something different. If it doesn't work, if it's not effective, if it doesn't produce the results that you want, so what? You learn something about yourself. I have implemented one new practice this year, where in February 2024, I started this the end of December. I have a journal. I write in it every day about 6 or 7 sentences. That's it. What I did during the day, what's going on in our lives, if my husband had a crisis at work and how God helped him, things like that. At the end of December, I started writing that in German because German is my focus this year. And I've been writing in my journal in German every day since the last week in December. I have to look up words I don't know because my German is not as strong as my Spanish, but that's okay. I'm learning words that I need to talk about daily things, and that's helping. So what about you? What was your goal when you started? What is your goal now? Are you pleased? Are you happy? Are you content with your progress? Do you need something else, a new way, just to stay interested? That's okay. That's okay. Look for a different activity, or get a different teacher, or find a different tutor, or. There's so many ways to acquire a language, and it depends on us and how we like to learn, and it depends on our motivation. But don't let yourself get bored. And you know what? If you really don't want to learn English, if you're really not interested, then don't beat yourself up. Stop for a while. Give it a break. Maybe you're just tired and you want to try something different. That's okay. You have my permission. Life's too short to be doing something that you don't want to do, that you don't have to do. Well, that's my 2 cents worth, my little bit of advice. Tell me your experience. Leave a comment under this video. And I think that's it. We'll wrap up this episode. I'm Maria from English Without Fear. Talk to you next time.